So I had the pleasure of running into an absolute RTS legend on the Age of Empires 2 multiplayer ladder, and it is Grubby. For those of you who don't know, he is a pro in Warcraft 3 and Starcraft 2 and has recently chosen to show us all how to climb the AoE2 ladder at an insane speed. And finally I met him on the ladder, and that was a game I cannot keep from you guys. So let's get straight into it. If you want to catch either of us live on Twitch, then go ahead and check out our profiles, links are in the description. Okay, so here we are on Arabia, the most played 1v1 multiplayer ladder map. And let me tell you, I'm shaking in my boots here. I'm playing against Grubby, an absolute legend in the scene. I've watched a ton of his content. I'm super excited about this. I know that about 3,500 people are usually watching his stream. And I think that was the number around this game. So I'm very, very nervous about this. And let me tell you, get your basketballs ready, get your hoops ready, because there'll be so many throws in this game. It's unbelievable. In terms of elo range, you can see that at the bottom right here, we are around the 1,400 mark, which is insane that he got up there so quickly. It is so impressive. Lots to learn from this guy, ironically, even though he's meant to be the newbie in the scene. It's crazy. But anyway, so, civilizations. I'm playing as the Japanese, while Grubby has the Mapuche. Japanese, I've recently gotten into trying to perfect this civ. And the bonuses on my side, pretty straightforward. I have good infantry, they attack faster. I've got a nice little upgrade in terms of economy. My lumber camps cost less, and so do my mills and mining camps, so I have a bit more wood to spare. But on the other side, that's the crucial part to probably talk about. Let's look at the map real quickly before we switch over to that. Looking pretty good on my side. I have a back gold, the berries are a bit exposed, but my wood lines look pretty healthy and thick. On the other side, Grubby with the Mapuche. So, Mapuche is one of the new DLC civs, which means they get a unit called the Champy Scout. It's all these Middle to Southern American civilizations they added recently, and they get this new unit that replaces the militia line. In reality, it's somewhat of a cross between militia and eagle. And they have insane pierce armor, they're super fast, you can see it selected here on screen, 1.1 speed, that is very fast, they can outrun militia, they can outrun archers, they can outrun villagers obviously, super strong unit. And the problem with that is, at the moment there is something called the Champy Scout Rush, which basically is an all-in Dark Age strategy, whereby you spam this unit without end into your opponent's base, and if your opponent isn't prepared for it already with a barracks, which is the only counter you have available in Dark Age, then usually it's pretty much GG. The opponent will have a clean economy behind this, get into Feudal Age before you, and you will just not be able to catch up. So, very tricky strategy, and I am thinking, does Grubby know this strategy? Or is he a clean macro player? Everything I've seen so far from him indicated that he just plays very clean macro strategies. But in this case, I'm skeptical, right? It is the Mapuche, everybody's playing this Champy Scout Rush at the moment, so I'm thinking he might be able to do that too. So I decide basically to blindly go for a barracks at this point. As we can see here, Grubby hasn't built his barracks yet, so he's clearly not doing this, but I don't have that information at this time, and the problem is with that strategy you have to build the barracks before you even know what the opponent is doing, which is why this strategy is considered overpowered at the moment. But here we go, I built my barracks near the gold, so I can pick up some gold on the way back to the TC immediately. I already have 4 on wood here, that's why I can afford the barracks this early, but this is actually when you have to build it, if the opponent is going for this strategy. My scout is now in the enemy's base, which you can see on the minimap down here, and yeah, so far I can't see the barracks, so at this point I'm already thinking, ah crap, I have gone for the wrong strategy here. This is a disaster piece to start with, and you can see the nervousness, right? Look at the idle TC time, there's a bit of that creeping up as well, but basically now I have a barracks with villager 15, and I have no use for it. So this is already a bit of a disaster. I'll be well behind in economy here, and can't really do much. I am Japanese, so I kind of want to open man-at-arms, to be honest, so this isn't a complete failure, right? It's still fine. It's fine. Trust me, it's fine. Good thing is, on the chat with Grubby, I looked at the video afterwards, and I saw I obviously had my secret agents in there, meaning the support was present, and even Grubby himself gave me a quick shout-out. That's a good boost.
Go Toaster. Yeah, go Toaster. Cheering for you.
The other thing, by the way, ever since the DLC came out, my elo dropped like a stone. I was like at 1,550 high or something, and now you can see I'm 200 elo points lower. So I was thinking like, oh my god, is everybody in the chat going to think I'm an absolute smurf now? And indeed, it was only one person who called me a smurf in his chat, so I was like, at least they didn't see that, because whenever that happens to me, I'm always mad about it. I'm like, you were 2,000 elo at some point, and now I meet you at 1,400, 1,500, what is this? But anyway, today no Smurf calling, and genuinely I'm not a Smurf. I just kept losing to the Champy Scout Rush again and again and again and again until I figured out the right strat, which I'm trying to play here into absolutely nothing because he isn't doing it. And we can see it here, 19 villagers on his side, he's clicking Feudal. Stats so far look fairly balanced between the two of us, so res collected very similar. Village account is similar, but my idle TC time is obviously a bit higher. And here we go, Grubby throwing me a bone, sending his Champy Scout straight into my TC. Well, no. That can obviously happen. Scouting at the beginning is always a bit of a weird one in Age of Empires 2. Maybe something he'll probably pick up within minutes once he realizes how to scout along woodlines and along hills and kind of safe areas. But anyway, so we're both on the way up to Feudal Age, and I'm delayed by a good 30-40 seconds or so, and at this point I'm thinking, well, I got the barracks, I got somebody on gold, I need to do something with it. So I'm producing 2 militia here, which is way too late. Like, I should have produced those way sooner already, and you can see my economy is unbalanced. I have too much wood. I'm floating 376 wood. That is way too much for this point of the game. I should have been spending that. It should have been for, if I go for an archer play, for example, but I'm not doing that. I want to open scouts, right? I'm going to drop a stables here in a second, because I know that the Mapuche with their civ bonuses, which we haven't talked about much yet, is they get cheaper infantry, cheaper skirmishers, cheaper slingers, or more HP, sorry, not cheaper. Still learning those new civs. It is confusing. We're at 53 now. 53. By the way, that means we have around 1,400 possible civ matchups. It's insane. When the game first came out, there was less than 100 possible civ matchups. Maths and stuff. Anyway, we dropped the stable, and look at this guy. This man has been playing Age of Empires 2 for a few weeks, and his Champy Scout is in the perfect spot it should be once your opponent hits Feudal. He immediately scouts that I place a stable, and he will have pikes ready, or spearmen ready in place. So it's time for me to try and get some sort of value out of my militia. I forget the third one there, he's a bit slow apparently. And I try to get a few good engagements, but I'm struggling, right? Like, he's a micro expert. He comes from games that are way more micro intense than Age of Empires 2, so he knows what he's doing in terms of micro, but it's having a bit of an effect. So you see a bunch of villagers under his TC there. They are not doing, yeah, they're not doing anything at the moment, which is a big part of what you want to achieve with a drush usually. I have a video that's all about trushing and drushing and all of these kinds of early strategies, and the big part that you want to do with it is not necessarily get kills all the time. You just want to distract your opponents so they make mistakes on their economy like this one. Okay, sorry, don't know why I brought that up. Yeah, here we go. I'm trying to take the engagement with the Champy Scouts. Technically 1 versus 1. My militia should trade well here, but obviously he has higher numbers, so we kind of trade units back and forth. It's 2 against 2 in the KD at the moment. We get another kill in here, but ultimately he just has the bigger numbers. My militias aren't a hard counter against his Champy Scouts, I should mention. They just trade slightly better. And the other thing he's doing phenomenally well here, that nobody does when they've just picked up the game, it's incredible, is to immediately go forward when they've cleared your army. It's crazy. He notices he has the advantage, he notices he's just cleared up my army, so into the offense he goes. Now, I make my first big blunder here, I would say, apart from the strategy that I picked. There's a hole here. I just didn't see it, I didn't fill it in time. This villager's trying to do it, but a bit too late. So now a bit of a problem, but luckily his push isn't all that strong. So he's coming with 3 spears. Spears are not a great unit to raid with whatsoever, because villagers in a 1v1 actually win. But no kicking and biting, but they still win. And you can see it here, like he gets 1 villager kill, he gets 1 scout kill, but that's pretty much it. And he's gonna lose in a second, spoiler, all of his units in this point. And I was very proud, let me tell you, this is the peak moment in this whole game. Like, I never felt more satisfied to do this in front of 3,500 people immediately. Now watch this closely, watch this closely. Hey, there we go. What do you think about that, Grubby? So, little gate trick there. Not a huge deal in this game. These units weren't terribly useful anyway. But the point being, like, never send spears forward in that way. If you don't have enough units to actually inflict damage on villagers and all that, then you don't need to send the spears forward. They are just meant to defend against scouts in case the opponent is defending with scouts or anything like that. And that's the way you can use them in, but otherwise it's quite tricky. Okay, so at this point, basically, I'm pretty sure a reasonable thing to do would have been for both of us to play towards Castle Age. His economy is way more well balanced than mine. You can see it again. I have 11 on wood. He, on the other hand, already has a nice composition to go up to Castle Age from here. But I'm thinking, the guy is wide open. I probably just cleared up his military. I should go forward with a few units. And I also invested into an archery range, so I need to get some value out of that investment as well. So I go forward and try to pressure his sort of external resources there. So anything that isn't right under the TC, I can pressure very nicely with this unit comp. I do not know how I managed to pull this off, but for some reason I don't get a single eco kill here. Like, this is phenomenally bad micro with 2 archers and 2 scouts to not block the villages with the scouts and get a kill. So these Feudal Age engagements are actually pretty bad for me because they delay my Castle Age quite a lot. And I think I get 1 or 2 kills in this situation. So really not that great. I'm also still producing, by the way, so I do intend on sending future waves. This micro again here really isn't all that good. He's taking clever villager fights. I get 1 single economy kill here, I think. And look at the Champy Scout versus the archers here on the side. Their pierce armor is insane. That's what makes them so strong. Archers are not accounted to Champy Scouts because you can't actually hit and run. And then on the other hand, they have a super high pierce armor and they're very fast. So you can't really deal with them. It's impossible. Archers do not counter Champy Scouts and they're not meant to, so that's completely fine. The only thing you can do is scouts. So again, looking at the economy distribution here on both sides, you can see Grubby pulling slightly away in the resources collected. I collected a lot of idle TC time, but the good thing is here I'm thinking scouts actually counter everything he has, because he built skirmishes, he built Champy Scouts. My scouts should be pretty decent against that. On paper, cavalry does counter the Champy Scouts, but obviously Champy Scouts is a gold unit technically, and so a scout shouldn't just completely wreck them, right? We're talking about heavy cavalry, that's the counter here. The scout just has a slight advantage, I believe, against them, so nothing huge. And again, all I'm trying to do is distract my opponent a little bit, see if I can get the cheeky Vil kill, but after all of this investment, the Eco KD is 2-1. Really nothing much has happened here. Grubby is doing a phenomenal job at defending this very calmly. I don't manage to really rattle him here. We can see his eco efficiency on the bottom right side of the screen is not the best, but neither is mine, to be honest. Like, I'm microing so much here on these different groups that actually it's distracting me quite a bit as well. But the good thing is, like, his economy is now starting to be a bit unbalanced as well. He has 472 at 27 gold, so quite a bit, and he could have clicked up probably a bit earlier with a force drop here. But also, crucially, he's missing his upbuildings, so he's only placed them now. Which again, slight delays is everything you want to cause with all of this, and I'm trying to get further Vil snipes here. I'm tryharding so hard, and I cannot believe I actually got called a tryharder. It's kind of a compliment, so I'm fine with it, but yeah, here's the master himself.
Try hard.
Phenomenal. Okay, so Grubby's on the way up to Castle Age now, with quite a lead. Like, look at my resource balance. I am so far away from clicking Castle Age. My economy is not balanced. I have 444 gold, and I do not have the means to go up to Castle Age anytime soon. I'm still trying to get snipes, get value out of those scouts. I got 1 more kill, but also lost another couple of scouts, so this investment really didn't work out well. The good thing is that our villager balance is pretty even right now, and obviously as he goes up to Castle Age, he's not producing Vils. So we'll actually have a pretty similar position here, because we both made our own share of mistakes. And yeah, there's a hole as well. So that's just, that's fate, right? He abused a hole in my base, now I'm gonna use that one. Don't quote me on abusing holes. Anyway, so here we continue. I have walled up my base because I'm thinking, okay, I'm not going to put any pressure, so I need to make sure I'm safe back at home. I have my 2 upbuildings, so I'm technically ready to go up, but my economy obviously is still taking a moment, and I go in for another Vil snipe. And yeah, he's ready to defend that one, but I am tryharding. Like, I will have to take a shower after this, believe me. But it's just the pressure. I think I was never as hyped. My pulse must have been 180 throughout the whole game. Yeah, I really wanted that Vil kill as well. And here we go. Traded the scout against the villager. Why not? And that concludes the Eco KD at 4-1 after all of this feudal pressure. And obviously a lot of messiness going on. At the same time, I now have to idle my TC a bit further. And I'm thinking, oh crap. He is in Castle Age now, and look at his resource balance as well. It's not like he got to Castle Age on thin resources. He has stuff to spend. And his discipline, as you can see in a moment, he is a super disciplined boomer. And I don't mean that from an age perspective, I mean from his strategy perspective. Immediately gets eco upgrades, like, he is super good at just playing a clean macro game, very impressive. But I'm thinking at this point, I don't really know what he's gonna do, right? He is clearly in a position where he's earlier in Castle Age, and you have various options when that's the case. You can go forward and pressure the hell out of your opponent and use that up timing that is advantageous for you, or you can just stay at home and boom. build a massive Vil lead and win the game later. And I have watched a couple of his streams, and I always got the sense that he is booming, but I only ever saw him with one Civ. So I didn't really know, is this just because he's playing this one Civ that he's always booming? I think he was playing Vikings at the time. Or is he always booming, right? So I'm thinking, okay, it's been a good minute or so, and I can't see any units, I can't see forward buildings, nothing. I send an archer forward to kind of find out a bit more. And yeah, I don't see any indication of aggression, so I'm thinking, okay, he must be booming. And that means for me, I'll go into full units and I'll try to pressure the hell out of him because I'm obviously behind, right? He's on 3 TCs now. Again, the good thing is we killed a few of his Vils, so actually our Vil difference isn't that much. And the game is pretty much on an equal footing now. I could have also chosen to boom here, add 2 TCs and move on. But instead, you can see it here already, I'm on 3 archery ranges, and with the Japanese, one of the strongest units you can play is the Cav Archer. Now, I have bonus damage against ranged units, but not against skirmishers. So skirmishers being the counter against Japanese Cav Archers, of course. And obviously, like, Grubby maybe could have scouted this. I think the 2 ranges are within line of sight if he goes forward with a villager or a unit or something, so he could have seen this. But for now, he hasn't. However, he is already building Scorpions. So he has seen something here, I believe. And maybe the chat also advised, like, Japanese Cav Archers, be careful, maybe build a Scorp or 2. Because he went for a 3 TC Siege Workshop defense, which I think is perfectly fine. You can definitely play that. I'm going for 2 TCs and then Cav Archer spam. I'm not sure the second TC is actually good here. Look at this pokey boy. Like, he's going to tear this house down with his stick. Just what? Don't quote me on that either. Anyway, yeah, here we go. Cav Archers, I'm trying to sneak them out the side. And again, the skill of Grubby. Now watch this. Me being super sneaky, right? Going out the side door. Don't want to be caught by the neighbors. I shouldn't be here. And boom, there's the spearman, and he actually saw this. I checked in his stream afterwards, after the game, obviously, not stream sniping anyone. And he actually saw this straight away. He's going for Elite Skirmisher now, but stops the upgrade again. I think he decided to purely rely on Scorps, which again, you can, especially if you're playing defensively. The fact that they're so slow doesn't really matter, and it does work usually. They have good range as well, so they can always outrange the Cav Archer. I have a bit of a hole there in my wood line, no big trouble since I'm the one who's going to be playing aggressively here, and I'm spending my resources nicely. Like, if I recently came up with a new rating system, so basically I was trying to think about, like, how can players improve and what are the different categories that they have to improve at. Actually, let's put it here on screen. So there you go, those are the categories, and I was thinking along those lines, like, where am I good and where am I not good yet? What do I need to work on? And I recommend, if you want to get better, look at these criteria and think for yourself, like, which of these do I actually handle quite well, and in which am I not really that good? And then think about what can I do to get better in these categories. So for example, if your micro is terrible, go ahead and download some mods on micro exercises, right? That's something you could do there, or you just focus on it. If you always have a massive idle TC time or something, you can do that as well. Ooh, another hole here, nice. But anyway, what I meant to say here is, like, Grubby is so good at so many of these things because he is a professional RTS player, and that kind of means he doesn't need the exact Civ knowledge and everything as much as, for example, I do, right? I've played more than 1,000 games on the ladder here, and still I feel like I don't know all the Civ matchups well and all the unit matchups. But anyway, that's the rating system. Now back to the action on screen. And we can see here the Scorps are doing their work, right? They're protecting woodlines. I'm thinking at this point, okay, with my Cav Archers, I might not be able to break in. I obviously can't break buildings with them, but maybe I can control woodlines. And that's a common strategy if you're playing Cav Archers. You just kind of patrol them along the woodlines and try to cut your opponent off their wood supply. At the same time, I'm also seeing, okay, he has too many Scorpions, so I won't be able to actually pressure as much as I wanted to. Clever strategy from him, so I'm thinking, okay, we need to go forward. Opponent is on 3 TCs. I'm never going to catch up to that. I'm just on 2 TCs here. I need to go. And look at upgrades again, like, he has all the eco upgrades already, except for handcart. And ballistics is now coming in for him. Super important for his Scorps, because obviously our Cav Archers move quite fast. Me, on the other hand, I don't have the second food upgrade, I don't have wheelbarrow yet, so I'm definitely missing some. But, to be fair, I'm spending my resources pretty constantly, and I'm all about military aggression, right? I want to make this a Castle Age push, and then we'll see how far we get and when and if we go to Imp. Trying to get some Vil snipes here, I get another couple. You can see there's like a slow drip of Eco KD going up. We're now at 9-1, but still, he has a village of almost 20 villages here. We now have the mangonels out. Sorry for these ugly rings. That was one of the things I had to fix, for example, following on the rating system. My mangonel micro was terrible. I could never tell when I'm in range, when the opponent's gonna shoot, when I'm gonna shoot. So I got this mod that shows you the ring around them. None of that is illegal or anything. You can download it as well. They're all allowable. And it kind of shows you when your mangonel is in range. Very useful, but a bit ugly on Capture Age, to be fair. Anyway, we get a bunch of good engagements here, and once again we've pressured him off of his wood line here. Not that that's a problem. At this point, Grubby is floating a lot of resources, and this is, I think I want to say, the only positive effect I'm having. I'm starting to distract him from his perfect eco-management a little bit at this point. He only has 4 on gold as well. Snibble, shout out to you, by the way. I caught you telling him that he needs to go on gold. Traitor! Anyway, let's keep going. I'm just kidding, obviously. But shout out to Snibble, great channel, check it out on Twitch. Usually does the night shift in European times. And here comes the power of the Champy Scouts, by the way. He has, I don't know, how many are those? Like 6, 7? And he manages to kill all mangonels. And I have to retreat with my Cav Archers. That's how strong this unit is. They are so fast, they have such high pierce armor. It's incredible. We have Botkin on, we don't have ballistics. But the thought that against an infantry unit you need ballistics, it's mental. But this clear up was really, really brutal, and we'll see a lot of those happening now. Grubby's still floating a lot of resources here. 1,800 food right there, and now he's getting the second armor upgrade. These Champy boys didn't even have the second armor upgrade, and that's how strong they were. This unit is completely insane. I don't mind it at this stage of the game, because obviously they're counters. I now have the option to go knights, I have the option to go for siege against them as well, but we'll see here in a sec as well. Like, mangonels don't do much against them, which is, again, completely fine. So I'm thinking, okay, I need a new strategy here. My push is not working as fast as I need it to work, so I need a castle. So I'm going 14 on stone, and I want to drop a castle in his face very soon here, because again, he's playing a very, very relaxed macro game. You can see he's just defending. He has no interest in doing any damage to our base, and he doesn't need to, because he's on 3 TCs. He can boom up, pull up his economy, and then try and kill it. Look at these mangonel shots. 3 mangonel shots landed. His Champy Scouts are still fine. It's fine, chat. It's fine. It's crazy, right? So he takes out all 3 mangonels. My Cav Archers need about 2 rounds of shots to kill 1 Champy Scout, which is a lot. Nice snipes though with his scorpions. And look at these details, like he's sending villagers to repair the scorpions. These are such good moves that most people don't do at this elo range or below. And he just got them all sorted. Like, he is such a pro, which is why it's such a joy to watch him play. It really gives you an inspiration. In case you were wondering up until this point, obviously I'm a fanboy to some extent here. Love the way he plays, which is why I was so nervous playing this game. But anyway, we get decent engagements here. I think the key is to keep the pressure high and to keep distracting him from his clean eco. He at this point has 1,200 wood and 1,900 food in the bank. Just spent some. But point being, he could have clicked up to Imperial Age several times at this point. He isn't doing it because he's distracted, and to be fair, for me, I took a bit long to take a different approach here. So I'm going for Light Cav to support my push, because the Light Cav should trade okay against the Champy Scouts, not as well as Knights obviously, but the Light Cav can also take out his Scorps, and the Scorps are what's really killing my Cav Archers at the moment, so I do need to take them out. Alright, here come the villagers. I have 2 options really for a castle drop here. I can either drop it in front of his stone, but then again, that seems quite risky because all of his army is there and it's a bit of a choke point. Could get very messy if he has 1 or 2 mangonels coincidentally at that point. So I'm thinking, okay, I'll just go to the main gold. I can reach a TC on that side. That is completely fine. And I take a good engagement here, I think. I get more Vil kills. We're at 17 eco kills right now. I do pounce on his Champy Scouts, only problem being I do take this fight under the TC, which isn't great. He gets 2 mangonels out at exactly the wrong moment. Luckily I see it, I kill off the mangonels, that's all good and well. And in parallel to that, he's going for handcard, he's going for pikeman upgrade, and that makes sense. I mean, so far I'm only playing a purely, cavalry-based play here, so pikeman does make sense. The only problem, which we'll see here soon, is my unique unit, the samurai. It's not a unit that's played super often, to be fair. Usually Japanese just end the game with Cav Archers, but we will see Samurai here soon. He's placing a very nice counter castle. I really like this castle. It completely shuts down this sort of entrance pathway I have into his base. That's really good. Meanwhile, I drop my 3rd TC as well on the other side, because obviously this is going into the next phase of the game. We both have castles up. That's often an indication that we're heading towards Imperial Age. I think I say that in one of my other videos, like, when should you go Imperial Age? Usually once castles go up. There's only one way to kill a castle in Castle Age, and that's with a ram push. And so that's what you need to make up your mind about. Do you want to stay in castle and all-in ram push this thing? Or do you want to go imp and go the treb or bombard cannon route? He clearly picks imp. Not a surprise, really. He is on 3 TCs and everything, so his whole game plan was to get to imp first and with a strong economy. At this point I'm thinking, okay, the front is kind of shut down. My castle is doing the Lord's work here, taking out the TC. I should go and look for raiding opportunities with my light cav while we're not really fighting at this point. But otherwise, look at the stats. Like, we're so balanced here. Our vil count is almost the same. Our military count is almost the same. It's just Grubby and me. We're kind of the same. No, I'm just kidding. Here we go. So we get good value here. We get into the stone mining area, so get another few free vil kills. But at the same time, they're really not free because I lose all of my light cav at this point, which isn't really great because again, they're my insurance policy against too much siege, and he is on the way to Imperial Age, and that's going to come as a bit of a shocker. And now, get ready. I said at the beginning, get your basketballs ready, know where your hoops are, because, you know, it's throw time. And I wish it was showtime and not throw time, but in this case, I'm afraid it is throw time. And I want to place a follow-up castle. I have the stone for it. I'm thinking on the right, I can't really do much because he has his castle. But on the left, I have a chance to further reach more farms and to reach his second TC. So I'm being ridiculously greedy, and I completely underestimate the amount of pikes he has. And I try to place a castle there, which is the dumbest thing I've seen since the creation of the Champy Scout in the new DLC. Really, that was absolutely horrible. So obviously this castle doesn't go up, and I make the same mistake immediately. It's proper Titanic. I leave all my cav archers there. I think I had 33 going into this, now I have 18. It was an absolute disaster this moment. Massive, massive army throw here. And this was the point at which probably he could have taken the game again, right? He had several points, I think, up until now. We both make mistakes. Obviously, we're not at 2000 elo. The goal is not to make no mistakes, it's to play solid games. But yeah, at this point, he had what he needed to win the game, I think. He started his trebuchet production now, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm cooked here, because I'm so far away from Imperial Age. Like, look at my resource balance. I've continuously invested into so much army that I just can't go imp here. It's impossible. So what I'm doing instead, sharp eyes will have seen it already in the top left, but before we talk about it, let's look at this little doubt castle. It's not a doubt castle, he has enough vills nearby to finish this castle, but again, I got a bunch of eco kills, with 34 eco kills at this point. And our villager count is even, right? That's because he has way, way better, more disciplined TC production all the time. He had more TCs. But here we go. So, ram push. I'm just spamming battering rams now. Because honestly, I know I'm never going to catch up to him economically and by going to imp. If I want to go imp, I have to stop unit production, and at that point he's just going to push. He has that game sense of just pushing like a madman in the right opportunity. And he will do that, I'm convinced. I have no doubt. He's getting conscription as well. Like, he's playing such a smooth game. Like, he's getting all the techs he should be getting. He is just playing phenomenally for somebody who's just picked up the game. It's incredible. Anyway, and now comes the Ram Samurai push. It's a very, very ugly strategy, not gonna lie. It's really nasty, because you can put the samurais into the rams. The samurais are mad strong as a unit. They have a bonus against unique units, so that's pretty cool. His unique unit might come out at some point. I think he builds a few of those towards the end. Would have been the better unit in this matchup. But yeah, he's not playing it so far. He's playing like a bit of a weird... I think he acknowledged this afterwards himself as well in the stream. Like, he doesn't really have a main unit, right? He has a bunch of halberdiers that can defend quite nicely here. But what's his main unit, right? What's his main gold unit? There isn't really any. And yeah, here come the rams. At this point, I have 15 samurai and 6 rams going for it. And the good thing is he still has mangonels. Like, honestly, those mangonels were not too useful at this point of the game. But in this case, actually, good shout, because he can kill some rams with it. His shots don't land too well, though, so maybe that's a bit of a shame there for him. But yeah, anyway, we're at his castle with 6 rams. We have the samurai production going. We are spamming more rams, and this is the big, big push towards the end. So this game was in so many different phases. Look at the score on the bottom right. Like, he has 1,500 score more than I do. It's going to equalize incredibly quickly now. And there we have it, the Kona, the unique unit. I think it's meant to be strong against infantry for some reason, but probably just because it has such high HP. And obviously my samurai have a bonus against unique units. I don't know who's supposed to know all these things all the time, but yeah, anyway, that's the situation. And funnily enough, at this point of the game, and I think that's another mistake, he goes forward with his halberdiers and mangonels. And at this stage of the game, that's not a dangerous thing to do, right? A bunch of halberdiers, I can just easily garrison. Those rams are not on the job. What are you guys doing? Like, you're not actually taxis, right? That's your side job. Your main job is to batter down buildings, allegedly. But yeah, so he does an incredible job at defending this TC. I definitely should have gotten that. I don't know why they were circling around. Probably I was busy in my own base making sure my villages are all garrisoned. But anyway, these things happen when a lot of things happen at the same time. And this, on the other hand, so I try to build snipe some of the repair villages here, and then I kind of forget about the units. It is horrendous how many cav archers I throw away here. One of my big weaknesses as well. And here come the taxis again, and you can see their speed obviously goes up as units are garrisoned. So another 2 rams going for the TC. He's now tacking into elite skirmisher. I think that's the wrong timing, kind of. Like, he has other options at this stage of the game. He could have done that way earlier. But okay, here we go. And again, terrible control, terrible control. Back to the rating scale, unit micro, 0. Horrible. I didn't ungarrison early enough, so I lose a ram very unnecessarily. And here we can see, like, the Champy warriors, I think, are an okay rating unit here. But the halberdiers obviously don't really do much. They would have been way more useful at home. I get a few more kills here with my cav archers, and the samurai obviously doing very well. So this is all looking pretty good, and we can see Grubby has a bit of a production problem. Like, he hasn't picked his main unit for too long, and now he's sitting on a lot of resources. He's going for the elite unit now, the unique unit. And the problem here being, he only has 1 castle left. So with only 1 castle, he's definitely going to struggle. He's definitely not going to have the numbers that he needs. And he's also going for the unique tech, which gives a further boost to the Bolas Rider in that they are cheaper now. And yeah, at this point of the game, look at the statistics. His military count is at 6, his vil count is at 76. He's trying to place another castle here. Obviously, that's not going to work in this position. But at that point, I think the game is pretty much lost. There's nothing more he could have done now. His push at the front has also become idle at this stage. And yeah, it was just brutal. And he calls the GG. And I win a game against Grubby. I can't believe I'm proud of that, because he's clearly like the up-and-coming player here, and he's going to surpass me on the ladder. I have no doubt whatsoever. But the fact that I could win a match against Grubby, how amazing is that? I was so super chuffed, especially after just having come off a real descent on the elo ladder. So this was great fun, and I really enjoyed the game. So shout out to Grubby again. Check out his Twitch stream. He's obviously an absolute legend and a pretty likable character. And he has a dog. I mean, how many more points do you need? Great guy, and this was a phenomenal match. I'm very glad to have turned it around. I made plenty of mistakes here, but luckily for me, it worked out in the end. And props to my opponent. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this quick little video. I thought it was worth sharing, and I wish you guys a lovely time. Bye-bye.